After I passed out from low blood sugar, the struggling student I'd been helping blocked me overnight. I rushed over to check on her, only to have her parents yell at me. "You donated a bit of marrow and now you're this weak? Did you pass out to scam us or what? Never seen such a delicate person, you think you're a princess or something. Go die quick, don't bring us bad luck." I was holding a report showing the student's high risk of relapse. Without a word, I crumpled it up and tossed it in the trash. Sure enough, she fainted again shortly after, and her parents were on their knees begging me, "Please just abort your baby, you can have another, but our child is all we have." After getting some glucose, I got Amy's latest blood test results. Abnormal white blood cells, macrocytes, platelets, and morphological changes. Every line scared the hell out of me. A sign leukemia might come back. I was about to hurry to her room when Amy's dad texted me, "We're leaving the hospital, don't bother us again." I barely had time to text back, before seeing a glaring red exclamation mark. Something felt off, so I rushed to the discharge desk. There, from a distance, I saw Amy's parents arguing with the nurse. "We're leaving today, and you better refund us today's hospital fee. Who do you think you are, just an employee? How dare you backtalk? Must have slept your way to this nurse position, didn't ya?" Never accused like this before, her eyes red, the nurse raised her phone to call in help. But Amy's dad aggressively pounded on the glass, trying to drag her out. A crowd gathered, with patients' families stopping to watch. I hurried over to pull him away. "Calm down, it's a hospital, talk to me." I never expected Amy's parents would avoid me like the plague. "What are you doing? I didn't touch you. Don't blame me if something happens." Unsure what was happening, I showed the report, thinking of Amy's welfare. "Look at this, several indicators are off. I suspect before I could finish, Amy's mom knocked it from my hands like it was infectious." "What the hell? Your health issues are none of our business. We're not blaming you for poisoning the marrow. Your fainting has nothing on us." She pushed her husband along. "Forget it, let's not bother taking the money back, she's not gonna last long anyway." My heart sank. Did they think I had leukemia and feared I'd rip them off? Amy was the student I donated bone marrow to, and had supported financially for years. She got diagnosed half a year ago, matching me perfectly, and her parents begged for my help. Seeing their tears reminded me of my deceased parents, killed in a car accident, and I softened, agreeing to the transplant. The surgery was a success. They claimed Amy was weak, hence the lengthy hospital stay. The VIP room costs $1,200 a day, plus $200 for services, and meals tailored by my nanny. Since the hospital is family-owned and money isn't a problem, I covered everything. But today, the doctor told me things looked bad for Amy, possibly relapsing, and advised me to prepare financially. Stressing over it all morning, I fainted from low blood sugar after skipping breakfast and falling down the stairs. Wait a minute. My heart felt frozen. I couldn't help but confront them. "You say I'm your benefactor and said yesterday my nanny's soup was liked by Amy. Now you're pretending like you don't know me?" A shriek of resentful anger burst out, and I was shoved from behind, almost hitting the ground. It was Amy. She glared at me with an unnatural pallor. "Don't pretend. We heard this morning the doctor called about your test results being abnormal and you passed out. Not telling us just so you can blame us later? I'm fully recovered and have a bright future ahead. I can't let you ruin it." I stood silent for a moment. I didn't even utter hypoglycemia. Amy's mom pointed her finger, yelling, "Donating marrow made you this weak. Your illness isn't our fault, it's your own sin. Never seen such a pampered person, thinking she's some princess? Go die quickly, don't drag us down." Amy's test report lay quietly in my pocket. I silently crumpled it and tossed it in the trash, then walked away. Fine. Let these ungrateful ingrates go to hell. Amy's family, living well off my support with caregivers and meals prepared, was no different from a wealthy household. Now that I've stopped financially helping them, I wanted to see how they'd manage. Just then my boyfriend came to pick me up, taking me to Hermes to check out new arrivals. Upset over what happened, he bought me 3 bags to cheer me up. "Don't worry, babe, the tens of thousands you gave them don't match the price of even 1 bag. No need to sweat it." Jack gently ruffled my hair, carrying shopping bags. "There's a new Japanese place I know you'll love, fresh sashimi. Booked us a spot, let's go eat?" The thought of food lit me up. My earlier worries vanished. I walked into the restaurant with my boyfriend ready for a feast. But as I dug in, 3 familiar figures made me freeze. Amy's family. They didn't see us sitting close by and ordering. Holy cow, all raw food. Seems they've already written Amy off as fully recovered. Why does Jane always act like she's better than everyone else? If she really saw me as her sister like she says, she should be the one cooking fish for me when I want it. Instead, she tells me to get in touch with the maid. Does she think I'm on the same level as the help? I've been annoyed with her for a while now. She keeps flaunting her jewelry and bags, but honestly, they don't look as good on her as they would on me. Amy spitefully stuffs sushi into her mouth, even though the wasabi was making her tear up. Mom and Dad, you were smart to choose Jane to donate her bone marrow to me. Now I have inherited her luck, and she's the one doomed. Jack calmly finished adding sauce for me and then turned away coldly, saying, in a place like this, you wouldn't expect to hear a dog barking. The sound is sickening. Amy was startled, but when she saw Jack's handsome face, her ears turned red. She blinked, tears welling up in her eyes. Hey there, good looking. Who are you talking to? Mind telling me who you are? Amy's a bit younger than me by 3 or 4 years, and she's always been frail with those innocent doe eyes that just make you want to protect her. That's why, back when I was in my 2nd year of college, I chose to sponsor her from all the high school students in need. But Jack's been around all kinds of people since he was young because of his parents. Our relationship began as a business arrangement. He'd seen girls like Amy a lot and wasn't moved at all, just sneered, I'm Jane's fiancé. If there's an issue, bring it to me. Amy was scared, and her overprotective mom jumped in. You probably haven't heard. Jane's been diagnosed with leukemia. Doctor says she doesn't have long. You should let go before you get bad luck from her. Jane might seem great, all career-focused, but her parents are gone and soon she will be too, with no one left to pass anything down to. Why keep an unlucky person like her around? Jack's fingers clenched tight, knuckles turning white. I knew his ruthless business tactics, so I quickly placed my hand on his fist to calm him. Turning to whisper in his ear, I said, Amy's got less than 6 months left. Let's just watch this circus. Jack forced a terrifying smile. Well, thanks for the heads up. Amy's dad, misreading the situation and thinking his persuasion worked, shamelessly continued. Another thing you might know, Jane donated bone marrow to our Amy 6 months ago. Now Amy's carrying what's left of Jane's legacy. When Jane's gone, naturally, her fortune should come to Amy. As Jane's fiancé, you'll have to take care of Amy in the future. He took Jack as his future son-in-law, worrying over his wallet. Why bring her to eat something so fancy? Nobody back in our village does that when they're dying. They acted like they were doing us a favor, advising my boyfriend to leave me right in front of me. I was left speechless, stunned by their shamelessness. Fury rose inside me. Your scheme is ridiculous. Just because someone's sick doesn't mean they should immediately give up. Why not try treatment? Of course no. Those treatments cost a small fortune and the success rate is low. Luck like Amy's is rare. Don't waste it for nothing. Amy's mom got defensive at the mention of money. Better to die early and be reborn. This lifetime you've enjoyed enough. Amy's different. She's been learning dance since she was young and will be a big star. She'll need lots of money. If I were you, I'd do some good deeds and earn merit for a better next life. After you're gone, we won't forget you and will burn paper offerings regularly. Jack chuckled, stood up and said, wait staff, I'm covering the other table's bill. Also, since this little sister loves sushi, bring them extra sashimi too, all on my tab. He looked Amy in the eyes, intentionally winking at her. Bedridden and frail, Amy was easily charmed, smitten. Jack even placed a VIP card under his name in front of her. This restaurant's got a balance in the 6 figures. Sister, enjoy as much as you can. It's on your brother. Amy's dad couldn't hide his excitement and hurriedly pocketed the card. What they didn't realize is that eating uncooked food is the last thing a leukemia patient needs. From that night, Amy somehow got Jack's phone number and began bombarding him with messages. Jack, I found you online. You're impressive with all those companies. I'm unsure how to repay your kindness. Went to that restaurant you treated us to, still delicious, and the wasabi was intense. I miss you, why aren't you around? I reminisce about when we first met. Is Jane keeping you away? I despise that woman. Little did she know Jack had multiple phones and hardly used that one. It just sat in a corner collecting dust. Meanwhile, Amy's parents continued flooding me with messages. insisting I return everything that's rightfully Amy's. They hear the entertainment industry's tough to break into, so they expect me to fund Amy's lessons for internet fame. I could only laugh, replying, "Didn't you mention she'd been dancing since childhood? Why need more lessons?" They shot back confidently, "Yeah, Amy did a bit in elementary music classes and everyone said she had talent. Without this illness, she'd already be famous. Cut the crap, just give me $500,000 first. You're dying and you still won't do any good deeds? Evil people like you are headed straight for hell." When I ignored him, Amy's dad straight up threatened me. "If your employees find out their boss is about to kick the bucket, how do you think they'll keep working? Believe me, I can expose you online." Jack then grabbed my phone and blocked Amy's dad. He texted Amy a number. "Here's a dance instructor I hired for you. $3,000 per session from 9 to midnight. Just mention my name." Amy was thrilled. She sent a barrage of messages, getting bolder until she outright asked Jack to be with her. "Can't do that," Jack replied with a smirk. "I wouldn't betray someone like that." Amy didn't catch the tone. Instead, she replied in a heartwarming manner, "Jack, I know you're sacrificing for me to avoid gossip. Don't worry, once she passes, I'll find you. My mom says once Jane dies, I'll inherit everything since I have her bone marrow. I'll take that dance class tonight. Our happy life is on the horizon." Jack's face turned green. He tossed the phone in the trash and went silently to wash his hands, while I munched on cherries and blueberries, laughing uncontrollably. I was even planning on grabbing some barbecue and beer later. "Amy, your lifestyle's gonna ruin you." Some time passed, and Jack took me home to finalize our wedding. He had everything ready for the ceremony, and we got our marriage certificate, closing our 6-year romance. Jack wanted a grand wedding, but my business commitments made it tough. Meanwhile, Amy's parents struggled to reach me, hoping to get the inheritance or marry their daughter to Jack for status. With their high lifestyle, they couldn't go back to their humble beginnings. I was scrolling through financial news when a local buzz caught my eye. White Group CEO diagnosed with leukemia. Near the end. Shocked, I clicked through to find myself trending locally, painted behind nasty headlines about stealing boyfriends and pretending to be charitable while mistreating Amy's family. Amy showed up before the camera, lamenting how I supposedly exploited their family under the guise of charity, turned them into slaves, and forced Amy to fall ill with leukemia. According to her, out of fear of exposure, I had reluctantly donated my bone marrow, while also snatching away her boyfriend. Now riddled with leukemia, I was supposedly set on destroying their family, forcing them to air their grievances publicly. "My family's poor," Amy sobbed. "I've danced since young, hoping to become a dancer with Jane's help, but I never could have imagined." She trailed off, appearing haunted. The internet erupted. "She's both gorgeous and wealthy. Why act like this? Truly heartless. Leukemia must be karma. Picking on the poor, disgusting." News feeds were flooded with support for Amy, encouraging her to pursue her dreams. Competitors seized the chance to fan the flames, making the buzz impossible to ignore. My company's phones were ringing nonstop, partners worried about my health. I had the legal team fire off cease and desist letters to those spreading falsehoods and paid to bury the gossip. Then I called the police. At the station, Amy's family showed no signs of concern, looking especially dolled up, obviously paid off by one of my rivals. Amy's mom flaunted her new LV shawl, boasting that Amy was being scouted for showbiz. Amy, however, seemed distracted, scanning the room for Jack. "You know gossip's punishable by law, right?" I said coldly. "You've conveniently forgotten who you begged for help and who you praised as your savior. Now you're biting the hand that fed you, really? You're not scared of karma? What do we have to fear? You're on borrowed time. You might just drop dead here and now and need an ambulance," Amy's mom taunted, delighting in provoking me. "Look at you, never giving yourself a break. Your days are numbered while Amy's life is just beginning. What's the point of holding on to all that money? I'm telling you from experience. For a woman, the most important thing is the continuation of life. Look at you without a kid, and it's good you have Amy around. Otherwise, when you're gone, there'd be no one left to mourn you properly. Hold on, don't speak. Where's Jack? Why hasn't he shown up yet?" Amy clutched her phone tightly, her thick makeup failing to hide her ghostly sunken face. "He's been ignoring my messages for too long. I've been dreaming about him, waiting every day for a reply. Is it you, Jane? Did you make him stop talking to me?" She lunged at me, but a nearby Uncle Hat quickly stopped her. Just then a clear voice came from outside. I just finished parking after my meeting. Thanks for taking on this trashy family alone, sweetheart. Jack walked in confidently, hugging me naturally. He placed his hand on my stomach, showing endless tenderness. Let's not scare our baby. Sweetheart, baby. Amy seemed incredibly shaken, wavering on her feet before collapsing. Jane's family panicked, immediately calling 911 to get Amy to the hospital. That afternoon, Amy was diagnosed with a recurrence of leukemia. Her parents were devastated. They frantically grabbed the doctor's collar, demanding, "What? Amy's leukemia is back? Are you sure? Isn't it Jane who's sick?" The doctor looked at them like they were crazy, saying, "The report is right here. It's been recurrent for a while now. Haven't you noticed anything wrong with your kid?" Amy's mom was staggered by the doctor's words, holding onto the wall as she murmured, "For a while?" As her mom, how did I miss this? But Amy said it was because she was dieting to stay in shape. Turns out she was sick. Our daughter's had a recurrence for a while now. Amy's dad, in denial, kept pulling his hair, shouting this couldn't be real, that he should be the sick one. Meanwhile, I was off to the side, snacking on a lollipop, snickering. Sorry, I just passed out from low blood sugar. My health records are all clean. You messed up the facts. This completely unhinged Amy's dad. You and your husband did this on purpose. He gave Amy passes to sushi bars and dance classes just to worsen her condition. Jack dropped all pretense with this family, mercilessly calling them out. People as greedy as snakes swallowing elephants. You brought this on yourselves. All those curses for Jane? Right back at your daughter now. He then gently protected my belly, acting like I was due any day when I'd only just found out I was pregnant. Let's go, sweetheart. Let's stay away from bad influences like them. Jane's family couldn't put up a fight anymore. Online rumors against me vanished, crushed by solid evidence. All the past slander boomeranged right back on them. Angry internet users, realizing they were tricked, cursed out loud. This is just like the real-life story of the farmer and the snake. Jane's family is downright monstrous. Other folks joked they'd hang on to a rich sister's coattails if they had them. Taking a boyfriend and some money was laughably far-fetched. Somehow, Amy's hospital address got leaked, drawing a crowd to cause trouble. Her parents, scared senseless, eventually whisked her off to a hometown hospital. Now, facing Amy's dire condition, they didn't dare confront me anymore. Switching to throwaway accounts, they messaged me over and over. Jane, please help us out this once. You loved Amy like a sister. We were wrong. You can't just watch her die. We've already settled up in court and tried to make amends. ICU is expensive, we just can't afford it. Please help us through this. I blocked them, no hesitation. It's a good thing I saw those messages first. If Jack had, he'd probably have acted much harsher. Next time I saw them was after a successful business deal. Once everything was sorted and Jack and I were planning a getaway. About to call Jack from the office door, Amy's dad, a mess of dust, suddenly dropped to his knees begging, please terminate the pregnancy. You can have another kid, but we only have Amy. The end of workday crowd gathered, watching cluelessly. Amy's father sought to create a scene, using societal pressure. Jane, you've matched with Amy before. Saved her once, why not again? She was conscious, calling for her sister, asking for help, and where were you? Calls? Messages unreturned. You know our struggles. No income between us, we're in debt to save Amy. I have no choice but to beg. He burst into tears, appealing to the crowd. Most of you have parents, children. You understand. My Amy is so young, I can't just let her fade away. 5 today as a dad, I actually kneeled for my daughter in front of others. But he overlooked something important. This isn't his hometown, it's a big city. It's a place where everyone's been through the tough lessons of life and come out more clear-headed and rational. His comments didn't get him any support. Instead, they drew disdain and scorn. Really? Your daughter's life is the only life that matters? What about Jane's kid? How arrogant can you be? Helping you is a favor, not helping you is normal. Yet you dare to make demands. I've never seen someone so shameless, using moral blackmail with such audacity. If you're short on cash, get a job, work. You look all well-fed and lazy. Someone even recognized him and wanted to throw their bag at him. Isn't this the guy who's infamous online for being ungrateful? Jane helped them for years, even saved his daughter's life, and he turned around and backstabbed her online for attention. Only a fool would help him again. Kneel all you want, it's deserved. You think you're so special. Amy's dad stood with his head down, his face reddening, veins bulging angrily. Just then he started reaching into his coat. That's when Jack rushed over. Honey, I called but you didn't answer, you scared me. I drove over quickly, almost running a red light. He gently took my hand, rubbing it. Look at your face, it's freezing. Let's get you back in the car to warm up. I followed Jack to the car. Before getting in, I inexplicably glanced back at Amy's dad. He stood still like a statue, his dark eyes fixed on me. Later that night, Jack got a call for a meeting. He set everything up for me and told me to get some rest before he got back. Lying in the bedroom, the sound of bugs rustled in the garden, making me inexplicably anxious. At this hour, the short video apps were pushing late-night eats or creepy murder stories. Tossing and turning, sleep wouldn't come, so I decided to head downstairs for some water. Thinking about our upcoming trip abroad filled me with a mix of sweetness and anticipation. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door, clear and distinct in the quiet night. Hello, food delivery here, came a very strange female voice with an odd tone. I'm in a hurry, open the door. Delivery? We finished dinner, and Jack wouldn't order unhealthy takeout. But it was like the person outside sensed my hesitation. It's a bouquet, maybe from someone. Hurry and take it. Okay, just leave it at the door, I'll get it in a second. I pressed my ear to the door to listen, only moving when I heard footsteps walking away. The peephole was dark, confirming they were gone. I cautiously opened the door. Wrong move. There was a block, someone was behind the door. Before I could react, a sharp knife was lodged in the doorframe, trying to pry it open. Amy's dad's twisted face appeared. Jane, why is my daughter lying sick while you live comfortably in a villa? You and Jack ruined her. If you don't help save Amy today, I'll kill you and take you with her. He was serious, thrusting the knife inward, provoking my screams. But gradually I stopped fighting. I stepped back into the room. Amy's dad was shocked to realize the door was secured with a safety chain. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't open it further. You! He exclaimed before getting subdued by a nearby officer. I scoffed and clapped my hands. The pepper spray Jack gave me was ready, almost used. You thought I wouldn't notice your voice with a changer? Please, I've been playing this business game for years. I spat. The only reason I helped you before was because I thought of my parents. He was arrested for attempted murder, along with his past slander and accusations. Facing the harshness of the law was inevitable. Seeing Amy again was shocking. Her skin hung loosely, her body was gaunt and frail. No longer in the nice hospital room I once secured, she was now in a cramped, dirty four-person room. The other patients were weak, unattended. Stains marked the walls as her mother sat on a small stool, trying to spoon-feed her. It's terrible. Can't you cook? Amy's condition made her temper bad. She cursed her mother between breaths. Useless. You should have died. Smoking and drinking when pregnant, I'm sick because of you. You call yourselves parents? Being your daughter is my greatest regret. She sat up in anger, slapping the bowl from her mom's hands. The sound of shattering porcelain filled the space. Her mother let out a yelp as hot soup scalded her hands. Sweetie, I was stupid back then, her mom mumbled. Your dad and I only cared about having fun, but we regretted it eventually and are trying to make it up to you. Make it up? Amy sneered. I was living well in that hospital. It's your fault for making me leave, fearing Jane's claim. You eavesdrop but don't verify anything. Whose brainless idea was that? 6. I really got the short end of the stick being your kid. Not only am I sick all over, but you've totally wrecked my future. I'd be better off as Jane's sister, living in luxury and maybe even surviving longer. I hate you both. Amy got more and more worked up, with 2 streams of murky tears rolling down her sunken cheeks. But I could tell they were crocodile tears, dripping with endless resentment after being way too greedy. She started grabbing anything she could find and throwing it at Amy's mom. Her mom quickly raised her arms to shield herself but still ended up with her head bleeding, crying out for mercy on the floor. Ahem. I cleared my throat, breaking the scene. Sis. Amy looked at me all excited, trying to get off the bed. Jane, you came to rescue me, right? You're here to get me out of this hellhole, aren't you? I really can't stand being here anymore. This place is disgusting. Her body gave off a faint, rotting smell mixed with the stench of all kinds of waste around, making me feel sick. I picked up a handkerchief to cover my nose a bit. Sister, now there's a word I hadn't heard in ages. It was like you'd only call me that whenever I wired money to you, or when I donated bone marrow to you. Back then, you said you'd look up to me as a role model and be someone who helps other girls. Is this what you meant? I let out a cold laugh. I came today just to witness your downfall in person. You and your family are the nastiest people I've ever met. Selfish, hypocritical, ungrateful. You even wanted me to sacrifice my unborn child to save you. I sighed. Do you think you deserve that, Amy? Who do you think you are? Amy looked at me, and the light in her eyes slowly faded away. She glanced out at the bare branches outside the window, lips moving slightly. And Jack? Does he know how I'm doing now? She finally asked, refusing to give up hope. I shook my head with a bitter smile. Jack's tricks are something you've never seen. Everything he did was just to worsen your condition and send you on your way. Amy, you'd rather believe some stranger over me. Someone who once saved you. I gotta say, you're real dumb. Her body shook violently like a piece of paper, slowly drifting back onto the bed. Amy's mom, holding her bloody forehead, tried to reach for me but was stopped by the bodyguards at the door. I walked out without looking back. Outside, the spring weather was perfect, with the sun gently warming everything. All that had happened felt like a dream, and ahead of me was a future that was bright and brilliant. The end.